Now at 10, you're taking a live look at Huntsville City Hall after another peaceful protest wrapped up within the past 2 hours.
This is what it looked like earlier as dozens of protesters gathered in front of City Hall, some even taking to the streets and marching around the courthouse demanding police reform at the local and state levels. This all happened as the Huntsville City Council met inside City Hall for their regularly scheduled meeting. During it, a resolution directing the Huntsville Police Citizens Advisory Council to produce a report on last week's local protests was introduced. The group also voted to work with the County Commission to relocate the Confederate statue from in front of the courthouse. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Dan Schaefer. And I'm Naja Sherman. We have team coverage tonight following the latest developments from the downtown area. We begin with Way 31's Ashley Carter. She's been at the City Hall all evening, and she spoke to protesters of all ages and backgrounds and learned more about the feelings they share in common. Ashley.
Right now, those protesters told me that they just want change and they want to be heard. There weren't a lot of first-time protesters out here tonight, and they told me the reason that they keep coming back out to these protests is because they want local officials to know that they are serious, and they're going to keep coming out here until they see some sort of change.
The possibility that one of us could possibly not come home. But that fear is not just during protests, it's almost everyday life.
Lee Priest was one of the first protesters who showed up to City Hall for today's protest. He says he and his son have been to several protests and want to keep going.
So I believe that it's something that I got to get behind. Me having a son who's 24 years old, he's seeing the same things that I'm seeing. There hasn't been any change, so I think it's time.
Younger protesters also wanted to make sure their voices were heard today, even leading the march around the courthouse.
We're younger and we're here for the long run, and we don't want to see history repeat itself. So, we got to start now, if not when, then now.
However, for some young protesters, it was their first time out.
So we got Lex, who's 9. Harding, who's 5, Judah, who's 5, Humphrey, who's 4, and Elior, who's 20 months.
Kurt Sampson brought his family, including his 5 younger children, tonight. He says even though they'll probably be too young to remember what happened and don't exactly understand what's going on, it was important for them to be a part of it.
The mind of a kid is hard to know, right? But I hope that it's not just this one instance, right? It's this and the patterns that we instill with the way we make choices as a family for our kids, and that'll be the lasting impact, I hope.
Priestley and Sampson all told me they hope today's peaceful demonstration shows they came not to cause trouble, but simply to accelerate change.
We all should come together and look at what it is that we can do to make sure that this doesn't happen and continue to happen.
Police were here at tonight's protest, and some even circled around the courthouse when the protesters marched, but there weren't a lot of interaction between the two groups, and overall everything remained peaceful tonight. Live in Huntsville, Ashley Carter, Way 31 News.